You see on those shows where they go to barbecue restaurants and they talk to the people, and it'll be some like famous place. I'm that big guy that they talk to that sits in the booth. Hell, I am the booth. And I usually come up with something really clever to say, like, this is the best barbecue on earth. Or, this is the best barbecue, enough said. Something really clever and original just like that. Anyways, I want y'all to know that they've just shoved a piece of paper in my face. Thanks a lot. I'll use that to wipe off all the barbecue sauce on my face. But this says, Mike's Daily Podcast is completely independently created and produced. Every podcast you listen to usually is off of some network or radio station or big company. But his is independent, and you should support independent podcasts. iTunes and Stitcher only show podcasts that are paid for by advertising. I really feel that shows where they show people and then they talk about the restaurant are just great entertainment. I especially love it when people say things like, my daddy went here, and my daddy's daddy went here, and I'm gonna go here because I'm here, and then I die of a heart attack. Thanks for listening. Here's Mike's Daily Podcast Show thingy.
This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 827. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Today it's part 3 of my interview with the Austin band T-Bird and the Breaks. Plus we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the Engineer, and white and gold or black and blue. Black and blue is what you're going to be if you ask me that question again about that stupid dress. We find out what's really happening.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And Madame Rutabaga and I shared a moment, although she might just be doing that because she's a good actress. Oh, she's so maddening.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And yesterday I mentioned that the other night in San Francisco I had my first papusa. It tastes just how it sounds. I need some Metamucil. You know, I don't think I have ever taken that stuff. I don't know what that does. But sometimes you gotta try something just because. Papusas are like Hot Pockets, but not as white.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The best dance group of the 80s was Yaz. Am I right?
Mike's
Upstairs at Eric's.
Daily
Move out, don't mess around.
Podcast.
Synthesizers all night.
Yeah!
No? Maybe? Oh, well, I would just like to say, look who just walked in. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, Gift Shop Supervisor. Oh my god. I can't believe I'm back on your show again, and you're talking about papusas again. Yeah, well, they were an interesting thing. There was a long line. I had to wait a long time to have my papusa. And when I finally got it, let's just say it lived up to its name. It's a strange name. Look who else just walked in. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the Engineer. Mike, we are both distraught about Leonard Nimoy. Yes, I know. It's a sad... I heard the news today, and I thought about Leonard Nimoy and how much I learned from him. I write about this on the blog. The fact that I was watching the show as a kid, right? At 8 years old, I was using words that he was using on Star Trek, saying things like, that's highly illogical and fascinating. You know, all these... I thought, I want to be really super smart like that guy. He was like a big role model for me. I know, that's so nerdy. But I was watching the show. So back when I was a kid, it was in reruns by the time I was a kid. And it was only shown like on Saturdays on Channel 5 in Los Angeles. And then shortly after they aired that, they would then show this show that Leonard Nimoy did called In Search Of. I don't know if you ever watched it. I think The Simpsons or Family Guy, probably was Family Guy. They make fun of all cultural references, but that was a show sort of like it predated the History Channel, where they would pick some bizarre part of history, Nostradamus, the Bermuda Triangle, Sasquatch, and go in, Loch Ness Monster, and talk about that and talk to all these people. And it wasn't like the fast edits like you see on the History Channel today and lots of music. And it was like this one guy with a synthesizer going, wow, 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 wow. And then you had Leonard Nimoy's awesome voice. Occasionally you'd see him standing there talking to the camera in a beautiful setting, like, he'd be right above the loch in Scotland talking about the Loch Ness Monster or whatever. And it was such an enthralling show. I used to love watching. I would talk then to kids at school about what I'd seen. I'm like, they believe that there was a ghost that was haunting the Winchester Mystery House. And they'd be like, what? No way. Scary. Anyway, Leonard Nimoy, it's sad. He's gone. He lived a long life, and he was one of the few actors to actually reprise a role he was famous for and do it so well in the last 2 Star Treks. And he was like our last big connection to the TV show Star Trek, because the other guys, like you got William Shatner selling plane tickets, you got George Takei being the funniest guy on the internet, but Leonard was our connection to Star Trek, so it's sad to see him go. And now I'm doing that thing with my hand, the live long and prosper thing, which I learned as a kid. And it was painful to learn this. I'm not coordinated, so I had to do the rubber bands thing where you rubber band 2 of the fingers and then the other 2, and then you try to spread it apart to make the interesting V thing. So I hope you're doing that with me right now too, in memory of Leonard Nimoy. And as I mentioned in the blog, a great way to pay respects to him is to watch the theater he did and all the other projects he did other than Star Trek. He did so much TV, movies, all this stuff in search of. And he had an amazing career, and it's amazing to see how he shined in all of those aspects. Anyway, I wanted to also point out that bizarre phenomena with the phenomena. That was another thing they used to say all the time on In Search Of. In Search Of, we look at strange phenomena. That dress, is it white and gold or black and blue? It's weird. I didn't understand the question when I saw it popping up in my Facebook news feed. But looking into it on the New York Times website and their science section, it says, is that dress white and gold or blue and black? Our perception of color depends on interpreting the amount of light in a room or scene. When cues about the ambient light are missing, people may perceive the same color in different ways. That is what's going on. How do we interpret those colors? Our eyes are able to assign fixed colors to objects under widely different lighting conditions. This ability is called color constancy. But the photograph doesn't give many clues about the ambient light in the room. Is the background bright and the dress is in shadow? Or is the whole room bright and all the colors are washed out? Different people may pick up on different visual clues in the image, which can change how they interpret the same colors. For example, if the dress is in shadow, then your brain may remove the blue cast and perceive the dress as being white and gold. If it is showed more, if the photograph showed more of the room or skin tones were visible, there might be more clues about the ambient light. And if you think the dress is being washed out by bright light, your brain may perceive the dress as a darker blue and black. So the answer, according to New York Times, other photographs show that the dress is actually blue and black. In the second photograph, which you see, which anyone would, colorblind or not, say that that's a blue and black. Well, maybe not if they're colorblind, but the white wedding dress you see to the side and dark curtains, as well as visible skin tones and body shadows, that help you accurately judge the amount of ambient light in the room and actually see what color the dress is. Mike Matthews, I believe what Taylor Swift said, and that the dress is blue and black. Mike, I believe what Kim Kardashian says. It's white and gold. I don't even look at the dress because I don't get sucked into those stupid social media mind-wasting, time-wasting traps. Well, whatever you think. Anyway, you can tell me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Let me know what you thought of Leonard Nimoy and his amazing career, what you think of Papusas, and what you think of Chris Pine. Speaking of Star Trek, he was crying a lot at the Academy Awards, wasn't he, Chely? Mike Matthews, he's so beautiful. He can do whatever he wants. Email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. And we also have the website, mikesdailypodcast.com, where you can listen to the show in iTunes and comment on the show. You can rate the show. That helps our ranking and more people find out about us so we don't languish in obscurity like the barbecue eating guy that talks on all those horrible Travel Channel food shows was saying. Boy, did I just do a subcategory of a subcategory of a subcategory there for TV watching. I think I did. Let's hear it for subcategories. You can also listen to this show in Spreaker. The Spreaker has an app. We're on Spreaker. We're on the Mixcloud app, the Podomatic app. We're on Stitcher, the TuneIn Radio app, and SoundCloud, as well as YouTube. That's probably the easiest place to find us. We have all the shows up. They're not in video form, but you get to hear the audio, and then the podcast picture is the video, basically. And you can tell people about the show through Facebook, like the Facebook page when I post a new show. Share it with your friends and more people will find out about us. Follow us on Twitter. Retweet our posts when we're posting about the show, and more people find out about us that way too. You can also find links to where to find us on Instagram, Yelp, and Tumblr, all there at mikesdailypodcast.com. Finally, there's the Amazon link. If you want to buy anything on Amazon, make sure you go through mikesdailypodcast.com and then bookmark that page. Whenever you buy anything on Amazon, go through that page, and that helps support the show. You've supported Mike's Daily Podcast without really doing anything. That's all there at mikesdailypodcast.com, as well as the daily podcast picture and all my past interviews. Speaking of which,
into an interview.
Awesome.
I'm talking to T-Bird with T-Bird and the Breaks, and he is walking around Oakland at this moment, probably going to get something. Where are you?
No, that's a true story. I'm walking around Oakland right now.
It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Very nice weather today. And then the tour you're on is amazing. You're hitting Vegas, Los Angeles, and then you're going to end up back in Austin. And your sound, the sound of your band makes me happy.
Thank you, man. That's kind of what it's all about for us is, getting something positive out there. We have a chance to say something, we're going to make some music. We might as well say something positive with it.
It is positive, and the album is called Harmonism. And in fact, you did the art, right, on the album cover?
Yeah.
That is so, you're
like,
quite talented.
I'll draw it or trace it or whatever, and then Cody will kind of, once it's in the computer, he'll manipulate it to a place that we like it. So we work together on, like, the videos and the visual art.
And Cody plays bass.
Cody plays bass, yeah.
And I want to play the song Living with Love, and the groove drum thing just kicks you in the face, makes you want to hit the dance floor right away.
Hell yeah. Thank you, man.
How did this song come about?
Let's see. Well, I guess the way I write, I start with a musical idea. It starts with the groove or a riff or something like that. And then I'll just kind of see where it goes. And I guess lyrically, this is, just about you being in love with somebody, and having that kind of good feeling affect all aspects of your life.
And then when you're producing the song and you say you work on getting the sound just right, did you have a producer with you on this album, Harmonism?
No, when we started, we thought we were going to work with Adrian Casada of Grupo Fantasma and Brownout and Spanish Gold. But we got a little ways into the process and realized that we were just kind of doing what we always do, which is produce it ourselves. So, now, yes, I mean, it's entirely self-produced, I would say.
It sounds great. Harmonism. It's T-Bird and the Breaks, and they're at tbirdandthebreaks.com. Also at tbirdandthebreaks.bandcamp.com, and they're on Twitter at tbirdandthebreaks, and also on Facebook. So check them out, and let's listen to Living with Love, T-Bird and the Breaks on Mike's Daily Podcast. Living with Love, T-Bird and the Breaks, as we go outside of the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Tomorrow, the finale of my intimate interview with T-Bird and the Breaks.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I've mentioned this place before, Niles in Fremont, California. It's this cool little town, old town. It's kind of frozen in the early 1910s or something. It's got where they filmed, Charlie Chaplin filmed a bunch of movies, and there was the Bronco Bob, something like that. They had all these old movies, silent movies, and they do a special silent movie showing every Saturday night in this old theater they got, where they got like top of the line old equipment, antique movie showing equipment, and they got someone playing a piano. It's awesome. Anyway, you can see that picture of a park that's near there called Niles Regional Park, and that lake you see behind me was completely empty. When I first went to this park, like in 2012, it had no water in it. So they say we're in a drought, but that little lake filled up with water over the past couple of years. So good news there, but I guess we're still in a drought. But we're supposed to get rain tonight and tomorrow. Yay, California. And Podcastro Valley getting some rain. And I'm going to catch some of that rain, dang it. I'm going to put some cups outside, fill them up with rainwater, and then use the water to wash my parts. Feet. That's what I meant. What, Mike Matthews? I was going to I was going to wash out my eyes, because apparently that dress is now blue and black to me and not white and gold. So maybe there's something wrong with it. You and I are never going to share a moment. Share a moment like I have with Benita and Madame Rutabaga? Yeah. Those moments of where we're just standing there looking at each other and it's all awkward? Yeah, we're not going to do that. Okay, good. Hey, all this 90s flashback stuff going on with Will Smith singing. I played back a piece of him singing on Ellen, singing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song. And then he also did Summertime on Jimmy Fallon. And then you had Christina Aguilera singing Britney Spears. And now in country music, Dierks Bentley, who's like this big country guy, he got his start like in the early 2000s. So he kind of missed the whole 1990s country era. He's doing like a 1990s country cover band, apparently. And so apparently 90s country has come back. The 90s, where the 60s turned upside down. Whoa, that sounds like fun! Mike, if you turn 90s upside down, you actually get O-sex. Actually get S' O-sex. So what you just said was highly illogical. As is every show, John Deere the Engineer. Next show, though, it is the finale of my Into an Interview with the band T-Bird and the Breaks. Plus, we'll hear from Benita, the disgruntled fiddle player, and the brewmaster.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!
Mike, Upstairs at Eric's by Yaz is the best 80s album ever! Thank you.